sure I get that. Um, so one thing we just wanted to just talk about a little bit is, the goals for our event, so we understand a lot of the purposes. It is a synod-wide event. The bishop often kind of jokingly calls it the synod picnic. It's really a chance for the whole synod to come together all over our synod in four different locations and really have a chance to connect and support one another. And it's meant to be a big fellowship event. That's a big part of what this is. But it's also a chance to really connect on um, learning about the ministries of Outreach for Hope. A lot of people don't always necessarily understand what Outreach for Hope does. That we are a fundraising organization. But then I always say the second major purpose of what we're about is also about making connections and strengthening partnerships and strengthening our the congregations that we support, just so that they really can flourish and do the important work that they do. So it's a big chance to come together and really think about that work and get to know our partners. Should we talk about the bingo thing here, Penny?
Sure.
We wrestled with the idea of, when we do the launch, we do a little bit of introductions by the partners and they can tell a little bit about their ministry, so it's a chance to get to know a couple of the ministries. And we said, boy, what else could we do to really help people learn and get to know the partners a little bit more? So we've created a little activity before we launch. As people get there, they're kind of standing around often for a little bit, often up to a half an hour. And so we're gonna try. Sometimes it's called Find Somebody Who. It's kind of a bingo style game. Hey, Brenda. Um, and So it'll be a chance to kind of move around, get to know some new people, and then there's kind of a scavenger hunt slash bingo slash find somebody who, where you look for people that have on your bingo card the things that are listed there, and so hopefully that's a chance to just get to know some new people and hopefully meet some leaders of our partners and learn about them. So that's something new we're going to try this year. By the way, we're always looking for feedback. So if we try something and you're like, that didn't work, you know, um, constructive criticism is always appreciated. Constructive. So, um, and we'll talk about a couple of things that we're trying differently this year as well, based on that constructive criticism from last year. So especially when it comes to like food. So, I'm going to share our agenda. Let's see. Can everyone see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So, Penny, did I cover everything that we need to do there?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, I think so.
All right. Yeah, and safety is always a key thing for us, making sure people are safe and taken well care of. And then, of course, it is a fundraiser. We had really good sponsors this year again, so it's really helping us to keep the event to be a free event. The sponsors are really helping to pay for everything. But it is a fundraiser, so they'll hope that people make donations towards, and all of these go towards our ministry partners and the grants that we give out. So that's a big piece, and then encouraging people to also potentially do some fundraising, with their friends and family. So if you have people that they know that they'd like to encourage to make a donation with them, we've got some tools to help people do that too. So that's probably enough on that front. We're here to talk about volunteering tonight. So I'll hand it over to Penny.
So just a reminder about how the day will go, what times things are happening. We have set up time at all the sites except Milwaukee as starting at 7. Deb just suggested maybe in Waukesha, we might be able to start earlier with setup. That in Waukesha, being our new venue, did we say that already?
No, we
Uh,
didn't.
we have a new venue in Waukesha, and it's the Fox River Sanctuary Park, but we'll have a building there with walls and windows and doors and restrooms, and should be pretty nice. But it will require a little more effort to set up because we'll have to set up tables and chairs there. Uh, and then the riders check in for the long rides at 8. The launch for that ride is 8:30. The trail riders check in at 9, and the launch for that ride is 9:30. And then the walkers and runners check in at 9:30 and are launched at 10. Everybody should be back between 11 and 12 for lunch, and each site has musicians scheduled to provide a little entertainment during lunch. And then the important part is cleaning up and getting all of our supplies back to the Synod office. So we may need some additional help with that part. Reminder that the event launching times start with a gathering, and an MC will be assigned at each site, and somebody from one of the ministry partners will speak and remind the folks who are gathered why we're gathered and why we're walking, riding, and running today. That's a little introductory piece, shouldn't take more than 15 minutes. Any questions about times? Moving on, there are a few new things and a few things to remind you of. As a volunteer, last year we bought these blue lanyards with a tag that says volunteer, that you may choose to wear, that helps identify you as an informed helper. So people will approach you because you know everything there is to know. And then Pastor Chris talked about the mixer game. We'll try that out each gathering before each event. And I think we'll ask people to put their bingo cards into a box and have a drawing for some kind of prize, yet to be determined. We will have pre-printed name tags. Again, we did that last year. And in 2 of our locations, we're going to try an experiment and put those name tags in 3-ring binders alphabetically. And we had a little challenge in Kenosha and in Milwaukee. Being outside, the name tag sheets were kind of hard to manage, so I'm going to give that a whirl. And then we've had this dream for a while of being able to see all of the locations at one time when we launch the ride, the run, or the walk. And lacking big audio visual equipment, this year we're going to try a Zoom launch so that we'll have somebody. Wait, Chris, you have to explain this. Somebody will manage a Zoom meeting, and we'll have 4 locations in the meeting, right?
I wanted to see how you explain this. So yeah, it's we've Penny said, we've had this vision of, wouldn't it be neat to be able to, I mean, we all know we've got quite a few people at each site, but wouldn't it be cool to see like all 4 sites, what that actually looks like for each launch? And so, without minus, like Penny said, without having huge TVs at each place and trying to manage all that, that would be a challenge. We thought, well, we could do a Zoom using just 4 phones, one at each location, have each phone log onto a Zoom chat like this, and have them in a 4 quadrant on the screen, record it, and have it be and then have every team wave, Waukesha, wave and say hello to the Zoom room, and we could record that, and it would be something that we could then show later. Because the hope is I mean, the vision is once we all see, wow, actually is a lot of people. It might not feel like a huge amount of people for the long riders at each location, but when you put them all together, it's like, oh, that's actually quite a few people. If we were doing this at one site, it'd be a big group. So we thought, well, let's experiment. Let's try it and see if it works and see what we come up with. So that's the goal, and hopefully it'll work. So we'll see. So yeah.
Yeah.
So are you wanting just one volunteer at each location to do the video for all three, 1, 2, 3 launches?
Yeah, the thought was if we had just and we had talked it for a while, like, well, everybody turn on their phone, everybody log in. But then it's like, well, if we're trying to create a video, then it's almost better to just have one per site, and then record it, and then we'll do it later. We'll do it at each time and have that be the kickoff. That would be the start to the kickoff. So when we say we're starting at 8 or whatever the time is, 9:30, at 9:30 we do that, and then we go into all of our stuff. So that way we all know we're trying to do this at 9:30. So we have a time versus so and so talked for a long time. We had to wait for them and at one of the sites. So
So do we want to record the whole uh, uh, partners pitch
yeah,
or just the
well,
launch, or what do we want to grab? How much time do we want to be on that Zoom, and who's going to do it? Is that our assigned photographer is going to do that, or?
let's work out a little bit more of the details. Thank you for those questions. I don't have all the answers right now. So, but let's keep talking about that. I didn't anticipate the entire launch being recorded because it's going to be four different ones, and who's talking at the time. It's more of a greeting was the thought.
Kind
So
of a group
a
wave.
group wave and hi from Waukesha, everybody wave, hey, and so you get the four at that time, and that's kind of the clip. And if we took a clip from each launch and made them into one video of the launches, that it'd be a short video. It'd only be a
A
minute and a
minute or
half to 2 minutes, but that might be fun to see. So, like we said, we're experimenting, we're figuring, but it would be one person doing it. Who does that? They'd have to have cellular connection out there and that kind of thing. So, and Zoom access. So, we will we will get her figured out a little bit better. But this is one of the galloping things that we're starting to get into. So, all right, keep going.
So our new location in Waukesha, another advantage there is there are two trailheads. The Fox River Sanctuary sits on the Fox River Trail, and then is the trailhead of the Glacial Drumlin Trail 2. So people could really choose where they want to walk. The bike riders will go on the Glacial Drumlin. And the new road ride trail for the long riders is really quite lovely. And the trail riders and the road riders all ride out to Wales on the trail, and then the road riders continue on the road. So it should be a fun ride this year again. We we're another experiment. We're going to try for the Milwaukee and Kenosha sites. Chris Heim and the volunteers at Hepatha are going to do a t-shirt pre-sort. I thought, Lynn, you might be interested in that. They're going to label the t-shirts with the name tags of people who have pre-registered. And then they'll be in alphabetical order for distributing. We're going to give that a whirl in Milwaukee and Kenosha and see how that goes. And speaking of t-shirts, that I'm wearing, wait, can you see this? I'm wearing the purple one that we gave out at the ambassador meeting. And if you got one of those and washed it, you may have discovered that it fades, the printing fades. So we have chosen a different kind of shirt, a different fabric, same color. And it's softer than the one that you may have received in June. So I think people will be happy with their shirts. We will pick up the shirts from Burkhart's that next week, and our distribution date for team shirts is September 18th. And we'll be looking for some help driving those around to churches. A few people have signed up saying they'll drive, but if you can do that, let us know. And then the last thing on the new list is we're going to make a sign for the lunch table asking people to take one per person, please, and ask the volunteer lunch monitors to hand out the sandwiches rather than letting people choose them from the table. This in an effort to make sure that everybody who comes gets a sandwich and a cheesecake. And then the other thing to help with that, we're going to ask the road riders before they take off to indicate their preference of sandwich so that we can put those aside. And when they get back, they'll be sure to have lunch. Because they're doing 30 miles, they might get back after people have already started to eat. And we want to make sure that they have lunch. So those are.
Can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
I'm going to be at the registration table. So with that, asking the road riders about their preference, do you just need to have like numbers of, maybe I could sit with a sheet when I register people and ask the road riders what their preference is and make a tick mark of turkey sandwiches and ham sandwiches, just so you have numbers. You don't need to know specifically which person requested which sandwich, do you? Just like
I think what you suggested is perfect. I think that'll work out fine. Yeah, it's just that we get some sandwiches put aside so they're sure.
Right. If you just have an idea of how many.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that we'd hope to just kind of run through the volunteer assignments and see if you have any questions about what you're signed up to do. And when we're finished here, we can break into groups by location if you have specific location questions. So the site leaders are, some of you are here, Waukesha's Deb Kohler, Kenosha's Pastor Reby, and Mary Zorn, and somebody else. No, I guess that's it. Grafton, there's Chris Beloin. Oh, today I sent an email to Grace Lutheran in Grafton, to Chris Beloin, copying Chris Mankey, and the response I got was from
Chris Thomas.
Pastor Chris.
Yeah. The trifecta.
There were a lot of Chris's in. And David Tyson and Pastor John Norquist, and in Milwaukee, Gretchen Housey, who was not able to be with us tonight, and Thora Stallings, and Julie is helping to lead there too. So before the event, I mentioned that we'll need some help driving and delivering T-shirts to churches. We may need an additional 1 or 2 people to help with T-shirt sorting at St. Matthew's, and then before the event, delivering supplies to the event locations. We have a lot of volunteers this year. A lot of people have signed up. So I think for some of these tasks, we'll just make some phone calls and see if we can get some additional help. Set up volunteers would be, slightly different in each location, but generally getting the area set up, hanging the banner, putting up the signs. Trail marking will happen in some places Saturday mornings and a couple of places Friday afternoons. Some of the ministry partners may bring a display board or some handouts. So those are the things that will be set up in addition to the breakfast food. We'll have fruit and granola bars and water to share with people when they arrive in the morning. That a couple of people signed up for anything. I'll do anything you want. Those people will get a phone call. But if you are in anything, please stick around after the meeting and we'll talk about what you'd like to do. There'll be volunteers at the food table, setting up the morning snacks. Mentioned route marking volunteers. Those are all set. The role of the greeter becomes pretty important, I think, to get people, especially since we've had such a big registration this year. There may be new folks who haven't done this before, and some people in Waukesha will be new to the new location. So having greeters to direct people, find out where the bathroom is, because somebody will ask you that. Hand out the bingo, the ministry partner bingo cards, and so forth. Just generally welcome people, kind of contribute to the fun and welcoming atmosphere of the day. The check-in registration table is an important spot. There'll be a donation box to manage. Depending on where you are, you may need 2 people to 4 people at that table. We talked about name tags. There will be printed route maps at the tables, and there will be paper registration forms for people who come to register the day of. And so you might want to have a volunteer at the table who just does that, who takes the new people. They'll have to fill out the form and the waiver. What do you call that thing? Yeah.
Yeah, waiver.
Yeah. The t-shirt table is also a place where maybe 2 people could help, and the team t-shirts will be distributed on the 18th before Outreach for Hope Sunday, which is the 21st, in hopes that people will wear their shirts to church that day. And so the people who arrive looking for a shirt will be those who've registered who aren't part of a team. And then there'll be some folks who come in to register the day of, and we can't guarantee a shirt for those walk-ins. There will be some extras at each site, and we can figure out what's extra after everybody's checked in for the day. So we'll ask the new people to wait till lunch and see if we can get them a shirt. As Phil mentioned this week, we especially want them to have a shirt for the pictures. So we'll try very hard to get shirts for everybody. Cheerleading is important. The role of the crossing guard is, we've added cheerleader to the job description. So those of you who are serving as crossing guards will cheer on the riders, runners, and walkers. There will be an MC at each site, somebody to really lead the way, and then the ministry partners are being assigned to each site and each event. So there'll be at least one speaker at each launch. And as you know, that speaker will talk about the ministry and give people an idea of why we're together and why we're supporting that ministry. The SAG driver will have a cell phone, and we'll put that phone number on name tags so that people know where to call if they have a question or a tiny emergency. Big emergencies have to go to 911. Crossing guards, we'll have reflective vests again this year. We're not stopping traffic. We're just looking out for the participants' safety. A couple of people mentioned last year it's a good idea for the crossing guards to have some water and take their first aid kit just in case, and then be a cheerleader. Rest stop volunteers will be setting up the rest stops and with the snacks and water and cheering people on. We will have a sweep at each location to keep track of stragglers. The lunch setup, Cousins again this year. Each store will deliver sometime around 10:30. I'll make sure that the site leader has the phone number for the store that's delivering. And again, we're asking people, the volunteers at the lunch table, to keep the food behind the table and hand it to people as they come through. And really the goal is to make sure everybody gets to eat. There'll be some kids' activities at each location. There's a photographer volunteer at each location, and everybody's being invited to take pictures and share them on a Google link to a shared folder, and we'll make sure that information gets out there. We also going to promote a little contest again this year for, the best pictures. So we'll have a sign and make people aware of that. And then the biggest job is cleanup. And if you can stay after your job is done and help with cleanup, that's always appreciated. And then we need people to take the supplies back to the Synod office that day. Somebody, usually just one somebody is enough from each location. So that's the volunteer assignments that I know about. Have I missed any?
I think so. Any questions about any of those?
I just have one question about the rest stop at Redeemer.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have the snacks and water delivered beforehand?
Yeah,
Like you,
we'll get her down there to you beforehand. Yes. Thank you for helping with that.
sure.
Do we know what we're being assigned to do?
Most of you do. I think you are one of the I'll do anything people, right?
Yes, sir.
And so that's a loaded question there, Dr. Laura.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, just let me know what you want me to do.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
We want $5,000 in an envelope.
Sorry.
Wow.
You said anything.
That's a different way of fundraising, right?
With the mixer this year, are you providing us with the bingo cards? We don't have to
Yes.
come up with that on our own.
No,
Let me see if
no,
I can pull it.
we'll provide them.
Okay.
Let me see if I
Is
can.
there a prize for the bingo cards, or is it just an icebreaker for our participants?
I think there'll be a prize or two. What we've talked about is having a drawing, have people put their cards in a box and we can have a drawing.
Is this looking?
That's on the yet to be determined list.
I'm not finding where I put it now. I was gonna try and share it. It should be like right
Oh,
there, right? Because we just had it open.
So while Chris is looking for that, one kind of inspiring thing, I was a little late because I was with our first confirmation class, but we have 5 congregations that all do confirmation together, and we're forming a team actually. So I was really promoting it, and I think
oh,
the kids are pretty excited. So I was
oh,
challenging them to fundraise.
Oh,
That's
So we'll
awesome.
see what they can pull
oh,
off.
that's great.
That's awesome. It doesn't want to open for some reason. I don't know if my bandwidth is being challenged right now. Come on. It's thinking about it. Technology is wonderful when it works. Um, yeah, it's thinking it looks like a bingo card, and it does not want to open right now. I don't know why. Um, just trying to look at the questions here. Do you remember some of the questions, Penny?
Find somebody who's wearing purple.
Oh, that's easy. I would call
Find
that
somebody
I would call that lilac.
lilac. I think it's
Lavender.
lavender. It's lavender.
Lavender.
Yeah.
And you're going to have pens or pencils?
Find somebody who volunteers in a food pantry. Uh,
There we go.
find somebody who reads in church. Uh, find somebody who has a favorite Bible verse. What is it?
You see it now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just meant to get people moving around and finding new people and hopefully get to connect with partners. So,
Well, the goal would be to fill that up, or is it just to go across or down or
yes.
yeah. No.
Like we said, this is one of our experiments of like how do we connect people, how do we get people mingling, getting to know some new people, hopefully learning about our partners and such. So, yeah.
And you're going to bring back the pens or pencils?
I've got 4,000 pens ready to go.
Hot dog.
I buy them in bulk, so you've all seen my blue pen that we hand out. So
Okay.
I order about a 4,000 every 3 months. So
Oh my goodness.
we kind of flood the synod with those pens. So, and I just had someone today say, "Where'd you get those pens? I need to order some of them." Like, yep. So they should be sponsoring us soon. It's what they should be doing.
Absolutely.
They should be doing it. Well, do we have any other questions? I don't know do we want to break into small groups or not? Unless we
I
just
don't know.
want to
We're,
answer
we're
more.
kind of a small group
I
to
was
start.
gonna say, I think we're kind of the group right here.
It'd be a
I, I have a question.
Yep.
Yeah, it would just help for me to go through the time frame again,
Sure.
like starting with, I guess, setup and then just what the time frames are.
Yeah. Got that. Um, would how about this? I'm just wondering, I think your question is actually more geared toward like the volunteer timeframes of when people would be there. Is that what you're saying?
Chrissy, yes, I was actually interested in what Penny just showed, but yeah, like what we've signed up for. I guess what I'm thinking of is, I know what I was interested in, but to give me an idea of how flexible I could be to slip into something else if needed.
Yeah.
It's like I'm one who will, if I say I'm going to be somewhere at 8, I'll be there. But maybe in this setting, I could be broader than what I signed up for if there's a need. So it helps to know like what the volunteer time frame might be.
I'm gonna put up our other sheet. This is this is the background stuff that you don't necessarily get to see. But what we did, this is what we use for our list. But in the email that you got, did you see at the bottom? I tried to list the job that you're signed up for currently, and then the time frame that we're looking at. So hopefully on the email that you got, you saw that at the bottom. But and it's a little bit different between Grafton, Kenosha, Waukesha, and Milwaukee. Milwaukee doesn't have doesn't have the bike rides. They just have the walk. So they don't start as early. So that's one thing to note. But I'm gonna, well, check-in registration, because the three sites have long ride, short ride, and walk run going. They're essentially doing check-in and registration at these three sites from 7 to 10. Okay. Can you all see this okay? The check-in Milwaukee is a little bit later, like I said, about 8:30 until the launch time of around 10. Now, because we're hoping people get there a little bit early to kind of get the lay of the land and understand what their job is. People won't actually start showing up for checking in until about probably like 9:15, and here they don't launch until 8:30. So you're getting there early to kind of understand the lists and what you need to do there.
So you have built that into the time
Yes.
frame?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
We built in extra time frame for that. Children's activity, really, it's not until almost after the event. So, around 10:30 until the lunch is done. So around that time is when the kids' stuff is happening. Everyone is generally scheduled to arrive back around 11. So even the long ride comes back around that time. The short ride comes back around that time. The walk run comes back about that time. So that's kind of the idea with it all. The children's activities are getting set up, and so that when the kids are back around 11. And the biggest kids location is Kenosha. That's where we have Emmaus coming with 75 people. So I think they've got probably about 40 to 45 kids for the Kenosha location. The other locations don't have as many kids, but so that's kind of that. Cleanup, like we said, that's everybody's tired at that time, right? We're all kind of getting exhausted, and that's when everybody's like, okay, I'm gonna head out now, we'll see you later. And that's when it's like, there's still a mess here and we need to load the cars. And so this is one of those really appreciated jobs. So many hands make light work. If everybody chips in, it's done in 5 minutes. But if nobody's there, then it takes 3 hours. And I've been stuck in those positions before, so that's no fun. But so cleanup is kind of as the lunch is wrapping up, starting to clean up. Really, it's that 12 to 1 time as you kind of load cars and everything. Crossing guards. Do you want to say a little bit more about crossing guards, Penny? I know David had that question.
Yeah, well, I know, David, that in Waukesha, Deb will have a volunteer bring the crossing guards together. Deb, what time does that happen? You do a little orientation with your crossing guards.
I'll have to look because our first launch is, let me see what I did
8:30.
last.
8:30 is your first launch.
Yeah, we don't have crossing guards. Yeah, for the trail ride. The road ride launches at 8:30.
Mhm.
And the road ride launches at 9, or the trail ride launches at 9:30. So I think we had them there at 9 o'clock. 8:40, 8:30, 8:45, 9. I'll have to look at last year. I'll talk to John McGroarty and see what he thinks, because we drove the whole route. And when we do once we, talk, there's a couple of people that are going to have to walk to their locations, like the railroad crossing. So, yeah, I'll check that with John, and then I'll get an email out to everybody.
Did we
Okay.
say there's 5 or 6? I forget.
Yeah, I think there are 6 in
6.
Waukesha.
6 different ones. They're different, David, this year because we're kind of going the opposite direction. They're actually, I don't think they're quite as bad as some of the ones
Yeah,
that.
most of them can be driven to. So we've got the only one that we wouldn't be able to drive to is we wanted to add one where there's a railroad crossing. We actually did the walk on the Glacier Drumlin Trail, and it actually goes across the railroad track. So we decided we probably should have somebody there just slowing people down. And it's a railroad crossing without any uh, gates, so that person would have to walk there. But all of the other crossings, you're going to be able to drive there. So the farthest one would be, I'm going to say, probably about 15 minutes driving wise from where we're launching. So
Yeah. One thing nice about the new route, especially the long route for Waukesha this year, is they go out on the trail out to Wales, which is where the rest stop is, and then they
and was last year.
yep, the same one as last year, and then they break off from that, do a big loop, but then they come back to that Wales rest stop, and then come back down the trail. So one of the nice things about that is you've got kind of twice the opportunity to use the bathroom if you need to. So going out and coming back. So if you need to stop for water or whatever, you've got 2 opportunities that way with that route. So it's kind of nice.
And also and
Hey,
also the trail ride going from EV Shirts to Wales is going uphill getting to Wales and then downhill coming back, versus from Dousman it was downhill getting there and then uphill coming back. So easier on the riders.
Yeah, so that should be nice. David, did you have any other questions with that, or does that help a little bit?
He's muted.
There you go.
Oh, no, that's fine. In some ways, it would be nice to have the crossing guards there when the regular road ride, if they're using the trail too, but
Right.
that adds a lot of additional effort by the crossing guards, but
Yeah.
it would be
The
nice.
the road riders are pretty much experienced riders, so
Of course.
they should know better.
Yeah.
It's the trail riders that don't really, maybe aren't riding in the parks, et cetera, et cetera. So I've actually got you at the MacArthur Road crossing.
Okay.
And what we're going to do also, because some of these crossings are like, there's streets. It's not like when we were at Dousman, where it was, a lot of the crossings were kind of like, not busy roads, and none of these are real busy, but we're going to have make signs to put on, like just maybe tape in your car window for parking. But there's 1 or 2 spots that it might be a little bit wonky parking. Oh, look at that cute puppy. Hi.
This year, everyone gets the dog.
Yeah.
Kind of.
You win a dog if you fill out your bingo card. It comes with a big price tag though, because the vet bills are not cheap. So yeah.
So a question on Grafton, if we're one of the issues we had last year was that some people would get to the end of the bike trail, and of course there's a little bit of space between there and then the park area where there's going to be like a tent set up, or how's that going to be set up this year like that? They don't have a space rented, right? They're just setting up somewhere in that Maritime Park or whatever it is, Cold Dock Park, I guess it would be.
Correct. Yes.
So we'll just have to do a verbal when people do the Port Washington phase ride, just to kind of remind them, by the way, when you get to the end of the bike trail, where our goal is to get to Cold Dock Park, and just so they know visually to look for that, because a few of them got to the end of the trail like, whoops, now what do I do? They weren't paying attention necessarily. And we're going to have maps again as usual for that anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, and last year we made a sign.
Okay.
Yeah,
for,
that's my memory too, Penny, that we had a sign, that pointed so when people hit that trail, they know to keep going, go up into the park and go to the
Yeah.
refreshment area.
right. Now that I say that, I don't remember seeing that sign. We'll have to look for it, making a note.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in Grafton, we're having the bishop and some of the Mankeys are going to be up there. Is that correct? Or so we'll have to
Yes,
be on our best behavior. We can't,
yes.
No.
party.
Yes. Yes. Not because of the Mankeys, but because of the bishop. So
And then Pastor John, are you going to be doing the main talk like you did last year, the launch talks? Because I know Chris Thomas will be there, but he'll actually be going on the ride. So
Yeah, I was planning to kind of MC, although I think I'll be sharing that with the bishop kind of too. So I will maybe tag team or something.
sure.
I
Okay.
think you can just kind of tell him what you want him to do. I talked with him about that, and he said, "Whatever you guys want me to do." So I think he's kind of
Okay.
leaning on you. And if you want to say, "Hey, why don't you tell him about Outreach for Hope or whatever," he is on the board, so that might be a really good place for him to kind of give the definition to what the ministry is all about.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll have a ministry site with us also besides the bishop. I
Yes.
think I missed that last meeting that our team had, but it was Bridgeway.
Bridgeways is coming down from Sheboygan.
Okay.
Um, I'm forgetting who else.
Well, we were hoping Pastor Michelle would come up from Cross.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't think we've confirmed that with her yet, but
Right.
that's,
We've got a few options there, and we're still working out where people are going to be and having ministry partners commit to what they're doing.
Yeah.
So Pastor Juniper's one from St. Paul's. Pastor Donna is a potential from Village, and the new Olga people from Redeemer are other people too. So,
I thought Pastor Juniper was coming to
oh, that's right. I'm
Waukesha.
sorry. Yeah, she's going to Waukesha with Nancy Day. They did talk about, yeah. So we're still working that all out. There's a lot of moving pieces still on the table that are filtering out and getting situated. And after the event, we'll let you know where they were.
Would it be possible to get back to the volunteer time frame, or did we finish it? I thought we
Oh,
got as
I'm sorry. Yeah, let me put that
No,
back.
that's okay. We got as far as cleanup, I think.
Yep, cleanup and crossing guard. There's an early morning out in Waukesha, kind of an early morning getting coffee going and things like that. There's some of that happens at Grafton too, but so kind of the prepping really early for it's more for volunteers than anything at that point. We try to have somebody that's kind of a medical person around during the event, so that's just kind of during the event. There's we've got different people doing music. Pastor Frank Janzo did performed in Waukesha last year, and he's going to do that again this year. And after seeing that, we all said, "Boy, wouldn't that be great if we could get music people at each of the sites?" So we have let's see if I can remember everybody. Pastor Greg Van Dunk is going to be up in Kenosha. At
Grafton.
Grace.
Grafton.
I'm sorry,
Grafton.
Grafton. Those two names always get mixed in my head for some reason. So up at Grace and Grafton, we have a guy named Chris Kent, who does he's a guitarist and he kind of travels around and playing at different places. He's a member at St. Matt's, and so he's going to be at Milwaukee. The Racine one is still a little questionable. That's still a question mark. So the hope was to have Pastor John Anderson, but I'm not sure that he's going to be available. So we'll have to see about that one. So entertainment, and that's more during the lunch hour for a time frame. That's more lunch hour. Having greeters, welcoming people. Greeter again. It's getting there early before everything. So as if people are showing up at 8 to register and check in, that's 8 o'clock. So having greeters there a little bit before, so they're ready to go and they know what the how to greet and what things to say and point where to point people and that kind of thing. And that goes up until the launch, the last launch which is at 10. Milwaukee's again just a little bit different than the other three because it's a little later, so 8:30 to 10. Lunch setup, like Penny said, the food is coming at what, 10:30, Penny?
Mhm.
So get kind of starting to think about where it's all going to go a little bit before that, receiving it, and then starting to put it out and be thinking about the process, so that the whole idea of handing it out and do we have a sign there that kind of reminds people to only take one and all the things that go with that. So that's kind of the setup and distribution. That's for all the sites at the same time. The send-offs, those are for more of the ministry partners. So we actually have a whole sheet for them and for the MCs of what kind of things to cover and all the things we want to make sure that are said. And so that's more for them at that time. Again, different times for the three sites versus this kind of reminds me of the Gospels, right? The synoptics versus the Johnian gospel. So anyway, thinking like a pastor. There's other stuff again for the Lauras, the anythings. And there are some stuff like some people are just the floaters. We don't know what we need until it happens. So having some people ready to go with those kind of things. A lot of this, does require flexibility. So that's something. I should mention there's a phrase, and I know we're over our time, so I'm going to wrap it up here shortly. But there's a phrase called MARF. I don't know, have anyone ever heard that? MARF, MARF. Nobody's heard of it. Maximum, absolute, rigid flexibility. Which is the idea that, hey, don't get bent out of shape if things aren't bending to your will. Sometimes people get really upset. Well, I'm here to help. Why am I not helping? I'm not helping enough. You're here. We appreciate you being here. And if you're only helping a little bit, then your job is to connect with people and just get to know people and make them feel welcome, because there's nothing worse than going to an event and feeling like you're not really welcomed or a part of the event, or you're an outsider. We all say that at church. We want people to feel welcome, right? But sometimes at church you don't connect. And so how do you go out of your way to make sure people are connected? That's part of what that bingo game is about, is making sure people are connected to, and then how you doing? Good to meet you. Good to have you here. So if that's the job that you end up doing that day, that's a very valuable job, and it might not be on the list, but it's just as important. So that's MARF. That's a good one. Last couple things, we do have photographers. We're really trying to capture the photos and the memories of the day. So that's always helpful.
Mm-hmm.
If you have your phone and take pictures, please share them. We're gonna have a link that people can share the photos and at different sites. Rest stop helpers, that we've got different rest stop helpers at the different spots. That's always important. That's also at Milwaukee, kind of halfway through. Marking the routes, we've got different people doing that. And so some of those, like Penny said, are early, and some of those are day of. That's more day of for Milwaukee. The SAG drivers, those people that are just being ready to help out if there's an accident, they can drive and go meet them and help out. So if somebody needs to get a ride back, say at a flat tire, or something happened, they can help out. So having those phone numbers, the phone numbers will be on the name tags, so people have those. Setup is early again at the different sites, and that's just kind of getting everything moved around. Sometimes it's moving tables, sometimes it's moving stuff. It's just whatever. We've kind of broken these into lots of different roles, so hopefully all of them are very manageable. We've got the site coordinators. We have start cheering people along. There's something about being cheered on with this event that's a a really good feel, whether it's cowbells or with cheerleader stuff, the pom-poms, whatever, just cheering people and celebrating that is good, both going out and coming back. The sweep is the person that's following. T-shirt distribution, that's a big job.
I
Know,
am
it's
I'm working on a son to drive me that day, and so I
okay.
will a good person to help there.
Okay. So
Oh,
you will be there, you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be great. So yeah, distributing the t-shirts, that's, making sure everybody's got one, and trying to help with that. That's a big thing. So does that help, Marion?
That did, thank you. I wanted to just share, I didn't write down exactly what MARF meant, so I Googled it.
Yeah.
And according to Google,
But be
MARF means,
careful what you do when you Google. I'm not sure what comes up with
I
MARF.
know, it's multi-agency referral form.
Oh, yeah.
So it was
Maximum, absolute,
rigid.
rigid
Look,
flexibility.
that's what I thought. Okay, I was just second guessing. Forget Google.
I learned that was one of my mission trips many, many, many years ago, where the leader said to our youth group, "Arf," and it stuck, and we just kind of kept remembering it. So,
It's
but
good.
it is, we tend to like to have everything go perfectly, and it's not gonna be perfect, but it can still be good. And being flexible is the challenge. So,
Chris, I thought of one more question.
yeah,
Is Outreach for Hope again going to provide each site with like a PA system
yes.
or like a megaphone, I think, or there have been different things? Okay.
Yeah, I actually bought another one. So that same thing you had last year, I've got that for you. So it's the two big speakers, PA system, and microphone. And then yeah, I've actually got another one now. So yeah,
Okay.
we're
Awesome.
actually ramping those up a little bit more with trying to have them at each of the sites. So
Okay.
yep.
And
Thank
we're going
you.
to have coffee and cups and sugar and all that and creamer kind of thing at each site, or is that
well, not at each site, but at your site, yes.
okay? Okay.
I'm picking up the coffee on Monday, and I'm picking up water and granola bars on Tuesday, and bringing the water to Grace on
Okay.
Tuesday. So I'll bring the coffee and the water on Tuesday.
Okay. And we also do strawberry margaritas at our site too. We'll be
Yeah.
having that
Pastor
little,
Chris is getting the strawberries.
Yeah,
little party.
Pretty soon
starting at
everybody's
6.
registering at Grafton, and nobody's
Yeah.
going anywhere else because they've got margaritas up there. That's
We get a party hat and a thing of margarita.
Margaritas at 7 o'clock in the morning, Chris?
Well, it's
Bloody Marys.
a good start. A lot of sugar in that. You need that for energy.
5 o'clock
Hey,
somewhere.
Yeah.
that's right. So I'm sensing this meeting has degraded far enough that we should call it, right? But we do really appreciate everyone helping out and volunteering. And if you have other ideas for us, we're always ears open. So let us know. But we are firmly getting into our gallop and moving towards the big day. So it should be really good. Pastor John, would you want to close us in prayer tonight?
Sure. The Lord be with you.
And
so
Also
good.
with you.
Good and gracious God, we thank you for the gift of this day, for the opportunity to work together as your church, for the ministries represented here and throughout our synod, and the opportunity to provide this support. Thank you especially for Penny and Chris and the good work that they are doing, the organizing and coordinating, the way that this event has grown and expanded and touches so many people. We ask your blessing upon it, on all the participants and the volunteers, that it would be a day of building up your church and a day of energy and connection. And be with us now as we go our separate ways this evening. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thanks. We're willing to stick around if people have other questions, but otherwise, thanks.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
all you
Thank
do.
you so much. So it's
Thank
very
you.
helpful.
You all.
See you
Sleep
soon.
tight.
Good night.
Good night.
I'll stop the recording here.